I'm Leonard Elijah Shemtob,
And I'm Amir Araghi.
and we are
The
the
Conscious
Conscious Cup
Cup
Podcast. Just as many of us drink our coffee to get through the day, the Conscious Cup Podcast is about filling your soul with the guiding light of energy to navigate you through the week. And on today's show, we'll be talking about truth versus reality, part 2.
Part deux.
We'll be also going through the grind, where we talk about the upcoming events in the spiritual community, then to filling your cup, which is the main topic, truth versus reality, part 2. Then we'll head to what's brewing, where we peek into the current state of global consciousness, and to spill the beans, where we discuss our weekly spiritual task that involves both you and us and our reflection on them. And with that, we ask you, what are you filling your spiritual cup with? Welcome back.
Welcome back.
That might have been our best intro yet.
Yeah, I like it. We're getting better. Only
It's only
taking us
15 episodes
yeah.
or whatever this is. Hey. Well, it must have been the love that permeates the energy in the room, you know?
Just the two of us.
We can make it if we try, just the two of us.
Yeah, get a little Fleetwood Mac in at some point, right?
I don't know if
Little
that's, I don't
shout
think
out?
that's Fleetwood Mac.
No, I'm saying we
Overall,
gotta
yes.
get some Fleetwood Mac into it.
Yes. Got to break the chain.
Yes.
Well, welcome. It's been a very interesting time. A lot of things have come to light, man. Things
Yeah.
have come to light.
Getting more and more light daily.
Isn't it interesting how they use that term? Things have come to light.
Yeah, it is. It's I always use those examples, right? You even look at cartoons, right? When somebody gets an idea, what do they draw? A light bulb going off, right? Like it pops up. There's a moment of enlightenment. So light's definitely getting there. It's good. It's good. Our weather's, by the way, amazing. Like I was mentioning this, that I think it's been the nicest summer I can remember for quite a long time. Like we had a week and a half of kind of warm, like hot weather, but it's been really beautiful since. This week has been
And we had a hurricane.
We had a hurricane. Yes.
For people that have lived on the East Coast during a hurricane and have come here and heard that was a hurricane and experienced it, I mean, they had laughed very hard.
Yeah, I laughed pretty hard. I've never lived on the East Coast. It was, I
news
think
just continues to prove themselves as just huge,
beautiful.
huge liars just over and over and over again. I mean, it's all about fear mongering.
My buddy today told me that apparently Anthony Fauci came out and said that Californians and Southern Californians should take this very seriously.
Oh, great!
That the hurricane was really, really good. If that counted as a hurricane, I would say that we had just this winter. We probably had 15 hurricanes. Would you agree?
I would say so. I would say we definitely had worse days than that.
If you could name a hurricane, what would you name it?
Fauci.
Oh, I like it.
Hurricane Fauci.
I like it.
No. Then none of us would pay attention to it.
Cheers.
All right. Enough of the pleasantries.
Yeah.
Let's get into some events, huh? Let's get into the grind.
Let's get into the grind.
All right. Today, what are we grinding up?
I just wanted to announce my classes for the fall
Semester,
if you want to call it. Fall really just essentially being from September to the end of the year. I have 4 classes and really, really excited about it. Monday nights is I think you said you were going to try to do that one. I don't remember. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. Monday nights is Masnavi, which is a book. It is a true book, and it's a series of stories. Typically, it's read as separate stories. We read it very straight through as a linear progression, and it's become really, really beautiful. It is roomy. All the classes are online. We try to meet about once a month or so in person. So once every 4 classes, we try to meet in person. That is Monday nights. Tuesday nights.
Wait, hold on. I just want to verify. Are you waiving the convenience fee and transaction fee if they're subscribers to the
Yes,
Conscious Cup podcast?
Yes. I think last time we said we give them a 5% discount. Was it?
Well, I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, you normally charge a couple of extra fees, but you're willing to take those fees off.
Yes.
Just because you guys are subscribers, and now's your chance to subscribe if you haven't.
Yeah.
And if you do subscribe, now you get that removal of the convenience fee. What was the other the fee?
The up in the air fee.
Yeah, up in the air fee. That's So
that one will definitely come up. The convenience, I'll talk to Leonard about.
yeah, I don't want to speak on his behalf.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just
Classes again. They're
processing
they're at
fee,
night,
processing fee,
Yeah. We'll also remove shipping and handling.
shipping and handling fee, processing fee, convenience fee. That's my favorite. When you buy a ticket at a concert or something, and they say $5 convenience fee, I'm like, convenient for who? Convenient for who? You don't have
For
to hire an
them.
employee.
It's a convenient way to make money. What do you mean? Yeah.
Yes.
They didn't say it's a convenience fee for you.
Thank you.
It's convenient for them.
Yeah.
So the classes are all on Zoom, 7 to 9:30 p.m. We got to take a little 10-minute or so break. So Monday nights again is Masnavi. Tuesday nights is the series of the Indian spirituality.
That's great.
I do not know how or when we're gonna get to whichever book, but I can tell you we are starting with the Bhagavad Gita, and that is
It's a long one.
Huh?
It's a long one.
It's a long one, yeah. So it might go through the end of the year. It might go through June. It might
till
go
you get to the
through
Ramayana.
April or May or whatever. But that will be the first. The Dhammapada will be the next, and then
That's a shorter book.
eventually it will be the Upanishads. So that should be really, really cool. I'm very excited. First time I'm teaching that, so that's awesome. Wednesday night is just select poetry from Rumi and Hafez. Each class is going to be kind of a universe unto itself, but there will be themes and ideas that we will kind of go through series, little series together on that.
Are masks required?
Are masks required? 100%. 100%. Triple on Zoom. In person, 10 layer, 10x layers.
And 9500.
10 and 9500s. We can't have anything going
It's
through
the
it.
newest one. It's the N9500.
Or at least, 9500. It's like
it's
the
not
Super
N95.
Soaker.
It's we should
It's got
come out with.
extra gauge.
You know what? We should come out. This is a big business opportunity. There's N95. Come out with N96.
Comment if you want to be a partner with us.
N96.
I'm going
It's the new-
9500.
Bro, it's the newest one. You thought N95 was good? N96 is the newest one.
It's more layers. It takes 96% of the particulates out. We'll just tell people that's what the 95 stands for. And then
Sorry, we're trying to get through this.
Good.
We're trying to spill the beans here, or the grind. You're trying to get to the grind, and I'm just cracking jokes. Sorry.
Thursday nights is the Shahnameh, which if I say my description on it is really brief, but hopefully it lands with people. I say the Shahnameh is the story of everything on every level. It is one of the most powerful pieces of literature I've read. It is absolutely incredible. There's two pieces of written text I've ever read that while reading it, I literally think that the text has vibration. The Shahnameh is one, and the Emerald Tablets of Thoth is the other one. Those two books just move you. Like, you get chills throughout it.
These are from 7 to 9:30?
7 to 9:30, yeah.
Okay.
7 to 9:30, starting the week of September 18th. Again, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Sunday mornings, as always, there's book club. We are doing the 7th planet Mercury rising right now, which actually covers the entirety of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. The next book, little sneak peek over here in the Conscious Cup podcast. The next one will likely be Carl Jung, and Carl Jung will be a book specific to dreams.
Nice.
So I think that's going to be really, really exciting.
Oh, fun.
But,
so when do you have time for yourself?
Uh,
What day is that? Just Friday night. That's
time
it.
is malleable, and
That's
so
only
I
Friday
create
night?
time, and it's all good. Friday nights are my free nights, but
What a man of service, huh? What a man of service.
Yeah, no, it's
Good
beautiful,
job, man. That's really
Thank
good.
you. No, I appreciate it. It's
Appreciate you.
beautiful when you're in that energy. There's nothing.
No, it's wonderful.
It's not to compare with anything at all, but when you love something, it truly is what it is. So yeah.
All right. Well, my event has no comparison to these colossal events that this gentleman is throwing. But on Thursday, September 7th and Thursday, October 12th, so if you go to the class on Thursday, you can just go to the first one on the 7th. There is on Ventura Boulevard in Sherman Oaks at Liberate. Which Liberate, if you haven't been to, is a fantastic place. Crystals. They have all types of great doodads and whatnot, and they do classes in the back and yoga, spiritual music,
Yeah.
Kundalini rising events. I mean, they have all types of stuff there. It's a great place. It's near Casa Vega in Sherman Oaks.
Exactly. Between Fulton and Woodman.
Yes, by Hank's Bagels, if you haven't been there yet. They have a meditation, Reiki, drum healing, and heart opening for grounding on September 7th and October 12th, both on Thursday nights. And it's from 7 to 8:30. And I believe it's just $45 or $80 for 2 people.
Nice.
Yeah, so take a look. And that's all at Liberate. Liberate is great. You should get on the email. It's liberateyourself.com. Liberateyourself.com.
It's a cool store. It's a very, very cool. It caught my eye the first time I saw it. I was like, oh, what's this? This looks
Very
like
nice.
it's something in the vibration. That is what we are vibing to, right?
We're all in alignment together.
Yes.
All right, well, that was the grind.
That was the grind.
We grinded, and now we're going to head to filling your cup. So
Yeah. Filling your
grab
cup.
your favorite mug.
have it ready to go. We are back for Reality and Truth Part 2. I want to do a little bit of summation and reminder about what we discussed in Part 1.
Yes.
And then we'll move into Part 2. We have a lot to cover. We will see how it flows. I am guessing that we will be able to finish tonight and that Part 3 is not needed, but the flow of the universe will dictate the flow of the universe.
I mean, there was a Beverly Hills Cop 3.
Oh, yeah. I love that movie, by the way. I loved Axel Foley. Did you like him?
Of course, the banana and the muffler. Who didn't do the banana and the muffler on somebody at some point?
He's just Axel. What was the guy who was supposed to be like Walt Disney? Uncle something? I forgot.
Uncle Buck? No.
Uncle Tom? Or I don't know what it was. It was really cool.
But I do appreciate you doing what happened in last episode. It's been a couple weeks. People have, it's just like when you watch those shows, the sitcoms, and they show you what happened.
Yeah.
You know exactly what characters they're bringing back.
Yeah.
Like, what happened in the last episode? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I haven't seen that guy in a long time. Thanks for letting me know he's going to be in this one.
Right. On the previous episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Previously on Ready to Die.
Yeah.
All right.
So on
Bring
the
us
last
back.
one, we talked mostly about reality, and I'm going to spend a little bit of time recapping it and making the story fresh again for us, the ideas fresh for us, so that we can build off of that. So a couple of the main themes was that reality exists beginning at third density consciousness. So what third density consciousness is, again, is where there is a sentient consciousness, meaning there is a self-aware consciousness. And thus, when there is self-aware consciousness, there is a me and there is a you. There is something that you recognize as quote-unquote yourself, and then there is stuff that is outside of the self. So sentient consciousness at third density consciousness begins to develop. Before that, second and first density have zero awareness. They just exist as they are. As third density consciousness begins to happen and the sentient consciousness occurs, in that moment, simultaneously, something known as reality begins to occur. Reality, therefore, and I'm condensing again, probably a 40-minute conversation into about 3 minutes, but therefore, reality only exists within your perception, meaning there is no other place. If you close your eyes and quote unquote, and I mean this at the ultimate, if you close your eyes of the earth, meaning that you pass, your physical body stops to exist per se, that reality no longer exists, right? There is no other place where Leonard views things other than when it is in Leonard's consciousness. Amir's consciousness exists within Amir's consciousness, and therefore Amir has a reality. For example, you're hearing this, and you have a reality of what is going on here. I'm talking, I have a reality, Leonard's there, and he has a reality. The only place that reality exists, therefore, is in your consciousness. So this is an extremely, extremely important part of this, and really the crux of reality is. So therefore, reality is very different than truth. Very, very different. The example that we used last week, and I want to bring it back again, it was this example of the concert, if you remember, or 2 weeks ago. And so we said the concert is the concert. Let's say there's 20,000 people that go there. One of the people is going to say for the rest of their lives that this is the best concert I've ever been to. Somebody on the other end of the spectrum is going to say this is the worst concert I've ever been to. And there's 19,998 people between that spectrum. The concert is what the concert is. The reality creates the best, worst, or anywhere in between. So this is fundamentally important for us to therefore comprehend. Where we are going to start to move into, there's a couple topics that I want to get into.
May I add something?
Of course.
I heard this quote this week, and I actually was like, if we do this, I want to bring it up. And it's a quote by Yamato Musashi. I probably didn't say that right, but it says, truth is not what you want it to be. It is what it is, and you must bend to it, you must bend to its power or live a lie. Truth is not what you want it to be. It is what it is, and you must bend to its power or live a lie.
Beautiful.
Isn't that great?
And in this process of enlightenment, and as we go through tonight, as we approach the idea of truth, we're going to really dig into that, and that is what it is. And by the way, you know whenever you lie to yourself. You are the barometer of your own truth. And if you're not truthful, it's going to come up in patterns. It's going to come up in obstacles. It's going to come up as resistance. It's going to come up as hatred, as depression, as fear, as anger, as any of those things. It will come up. And it comes up in multitudes of ways, linking back to the grind. In particular, if you have reoccurring dreams, there is something there for you. So tonight we are going to talk about a few things.
Why the grind? That's news. That's event related.
Right, because we were talking about that in the grind tonight.
Dreams?
Yeah, I said Carl Jung for the next book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, see,
A book club.
I'm glad he brought that in. See, I wasn't with
He's
him.
living a different reality.
Yeah, see? Gotta stay sharp here. The beans on his side were grinded a little bit sharper than my beans were smooth grinded today.
We just put whole beans and water on top of it. No,
It's a different kind of extraction process.
Exactly. It's a smooth brew.
It's like the monkey. What's the monkey coffee? Where they the monkey?
Oh God, yeah. The macaw, is it the macaw? I think ones. Yeah.
I don't know, what calls a bird?
Oh no, you're right. I just mixed it up. Anyways, so tonight we are going to spend some time on symbolism, on the process of how we move into this, of what ego is, and how that becomes part of it. We are going to get into the simulation, illusion, and then getting stuck in that illusion, which becomes a delusion.
The Maya.
Yes. And from there, we will then focus on the truth. So again, let's see where it goes. We'll throw it in with the universe, and it will flow between all of us here together. We'll create a reality.
Wonderful.
Which hopefully aligns with the truth. All right, so I'm going to use a couple of texts to try to kind of weave this together, but most of it is really just going to be conversational, like I usually do. So this is from one of my favorite books. It is The Golden Lake by Lisa Royal Holt. Lisa also wrote, if you remember the podcast that we did on the 7 densities of consciousness, she also did Prism of Lyra. She is absolutely amazing. If you don't know her, look her up. She's amazing. Go get those 2 books. Oh. This is The Golden Lake. I should probably hold it here. It's the only book I actually have little markers on.
And coincidentally, there's some coffee stains on it.
There is coffee stains. It's the only book I've ever done that with. But
how appropriate for
yes.
The conscious cup that there's coffee stains on it.
There you go. Witness to it.
Looks like you spilled the beans on that
I did.
one.
Oh yeah. More than the beans. I put the whole brew on it. So it is an amazing book. Lisa is fantastic. Lisa, if you are listening to this, we'd love to have you on at some point. She'd be an amazing guest for us to have. But I want to read this because it really goes through a beautiful breakdown with regards to the ego, and then the illusion. And the illusion here is, I'm going to refer to that illusion as reality. Because as you move away from source, as you move away from the truth, you begin to fall into this trap of the illusion. The illusion becomes so real, ultimately, where we're going to read in this, at the base of it, the lowest vibration of this, and I don't mean this in a judgmental level, the heaviest vibration in this, the least excited vibration in this is suffering, which you did a podcast on. Yes. Let's read all of this. The part of you, and I'm not going to read it verbatim. I'm going to use language that we can go through. The part of you that's separated from oneness is a component we call an anchor that keeps you focused here in separated reality. You call this anchor the ego. Beautiful language on it.
Can you read that again?
Yes.
Thanks.
The part of you that's separated from oneness is a component we call an anchor that keeps you focused here in separated reality.
Mm-hmm.
You call this anchor the ego. The ego has a neutral function that is meant, in a sense, to pull you out of oneness and ground you here to have a human experience. Beautiful. The ego's original job was to be a processor of the human experience for, quote unquote, the one, but its role later became primarily one of protection. Fundamentally important. So now we have established that the ego creates your human experience, and it is the thing that literally grounds you to hold you here in order for you to experience.
It anchors you.
That anchors you. Doesn't that make you a lot more empathetic for the ego than the way we usually talk about it, than the way spirituality usually says the ego is the worst thing? What is this saying? It's a neutral thing. Where it begins to slide off is where protection comes into play. Everything exists within oneness. What do you need protection from? Where are you going to go? Therefore, if your ego is acting out of protection or security, know that it's a fallacy. Know that you've become deluded in the illusion. All right. So she's created this really beautiful pyramid of experience. At the top of the pyramid is essentially where oneness exists. Below that, as the pyramid starts to get wider and wider down to the base, all the way at the base of this is suffering. So I'm going to read this with the context that we are moving essentially from the point of one all the way down to massive amounts of fragmentation to where suffering exists. In our world, suffering exists. It is becoming less and less daily. There's a lot less suffering now, whether you want to believe it or not, than there was 100 years ago. But our suffering is more complex now than it was. The capstone of the pyramid, the top of the pyramid, is labeled the true self and refers to the state of oneness. There is no duality or conflict. There is no movement. Everything is balanced and at rest. This is your natural, original state of consciousness. So the top of the pyramid is this stillness. It is oneness. That
True
is
self.
the true self. Exactly. Beautiful. When fragmentation starts, you begin to experience raw stimulation. That is the first layer under your true self.
On what experience? Sorry, go to the first line.
Raw stimulation.
No,
So
before that. Just go from the top.
when fragmentation starts, you begin to experience raw stimulation. This is the first layer under the true self. You experience stimulation that is inherently neutral. Even though duality has started, it is still neutral energy. So there is now completely raw stimulus that is occurring. So that is the first thing.
So you're at this point, you're so balanced that the stimulus comes, but you don't have no reaction to it, basically.
Correct. Yeah, even though duality has started, there's
It's not
absolute
affecting you.
correct. You are in that mode.
You are neutral.
You are neutral. From raw experience arises raw emotion. The next layer of the pyramid. You see a sunset, for example, which is the stimulus. The sunset is neither good nor bad, but its beauty triggers an emotional response. I'm going to spend a little bit of time here. Raw emotion is a vibration that belongs to integration, if you want to say it that way. Meaning that there are inherent vibrations, such as beauty, which trigger you. There is a spark within that. Beauty has that spark because it is an integrative vibration. So I want to be really clear on this. Justice falls in that category. Joy falls in that category. Beauty falls in this category. All of those things fall into it. So it's not good or bad, but when you see that sunset, you go, wow, this is beautiful. In a non-judgmental way, because there's no judgment. At some point, when you align totally with beauty, everything is beautiful. There cannot be anything that's not beautiful. The response is often a mixture of appreciation, love, and gratitude, but the response is still neutral because no story is attached. You do not look at the sky and think, man is polluting the sky. You are simply in the emotion and the moment of the beauty of sunset. Is that clear?
You're in observational mode. You're just
Purely
observing.
observational.
Yeah.
Purely observational.
Just aware. You're just aware of what is.
Yes.
And you're not having a story, a filter for it.
Yeah. There is nothing there. You are just absorbing it. And again, I want to be really clear on this, that emotions of beauty, of justice, of joy, of balance, of harmony, of order, all can occur within this.
And there's no preference.
There's no preference.
No
No,
preference.
not at all. What cannot occur in this space is hatred, is judgment, is depression, is anger. Those do not belong in raw
emotion. So the kebab
emotion.
is the kebab. There's no energy behind it. There's no, I can't wait to eat this kebab. It's my favorite kebab. Nothing. This
Doesn't
is just
exist.
kebab.
You're just absorbing the
Even if it's
experience. Yes. I actually love kubide. Those two layers. So remember now, you have the true self, you have raw stimulus, and you have raw emotion and experience that comes below it. Those two layers are your natural states before the egoic anger begins reinforcing polarity. What we call an ego state is where the ego begins to separate its experience into preferences.
Now, here's what's interesting. Can I interject?
Of course.
So very careful she is with her words.
Very.
Look how she said the whole time, what you call it ego.
Yes.
What you call ego. She never said what ego is, right? Because ego, and Ra talked about too, ego is not a working matter. It's no such thing.
Correct.
It's something that we create.
We've labeled it.
We've labeled it as an ego, but in reality it doesn't exist, because you watch how she's saying it.
Yes.
She said what you call the ego. That's the second or third time she mentioned it that way.
And this is really, really important. That's why I wanted to read this, is also because we have to begin to change our relationship with the ego. When you don't look at it as something bad, which most spirituality is like, don't do this, your brain is the worst, your mind is awful, it's going to keep you here. If you're going to fight with it, guess what it's going to do? Fight back with you. It's the reflective law of the universe. That's just what it is. Thank you for pointing that out. But listen to this now. She changes the words. She says what we call, and now she's speaking on their behalf, what we call an ego gate, really big difference, right? Ego gate and ego. Ego gate is where the ego begins to separate its experiences into preferences. At this point, the stories start.
Yeah. Because the preference, the story is what leads to the preference.
Correct.
I had this here at this time. It was so great. I always loved this.
And you're always chasing it.
Yeah.
We label this the ego filter because it creates preferences, such as, I don't like clouds. I only like orange sunsets and clear skies. Categorization comes in. Pink sunsets are different from orange sunsets. Do you see
Life is so hard for when you make all those preferences. I said the great way is easy for those who have no preference.
Yes.
The great way is easy for those who have no preference.
Just flow. But you see how
not that I'm there.
No. But you see how neutral sounding this is? Yeah. The idea that you are creating a delta, a separation between an orange sunset and a pink sunset is already different.
So there's, you're going to head to illusion later, but my spiritual teacher told me that This is an illusion. They call it Maya. And the more we believe in the illusion, the more we suffer. Right? So another person said, Robert Adams talked about it. He said that you are the movie screen.
Mm-hmm.
And as you are the movie screen, does it matter if the movie's a horror movie, if it's an action movie, if it's a rom-com, if it's a, documentary? It doesn't matter. The screen is the screen, and it doesn't have an attachment to what's played on it. No. Right? That's how we can treat these activities that are happening in the world, if we're able to see it as that.
Correct.
And we're not attached to the illusion, and we're just like a movie. When we watch a movie, we're like, oh, it's just a movie. We turn it off and we move on, hopefully.
You remember we did a class last summer. If you remember, it was on the allegory of the cave from Plato.
Mm-hmm, yes, very nice.
And it's all about that. It is that these are shadows. These are illusions that exist, not Jungian shadows. These are shadows on a wall, meaning there's a projection of something, and you are so attached to the projection that it's starting to cause suffering within you. Beautiful. All right, so let me back up and read one more line. Mm-hmm. We label this the ego filter because it creates preferences, such as I don't like clouds, I only like orange sunsets in clear skies. Categorization comes in. Pink sunsets are different from orange sunsets. This is followed by judgment. Pink sunsets are bad because they're caused by chemtrails. That is how the ego filters reality. You are no longer at peace. This is huge. I'm going to repeat these three. The ego filter initially creates preference. Preference then creates categorization. Categorization then creates judgment.
And also the whole idea with the whole preference thing is you can rarely be surprised. We did a podcast a few episodes ago on allowing the universe to show you how wonderful it is if you remove your definition and your confining of what it's supposed to show you.
Yes.
And if you watch that episode, it's a great episode. But by having this strong preference for something, it doesn't allow you to gain the experience the way it is. It's like they say, like, before you tell your kid that's a bird, they don't see it as a bird.
Right.
They're able to see that whatever it is as it is. And then after you say, well, that's a bird, right? Or like, oh, bird. And this is part of Buddhism, right? They have namarupa, right? Name and form. You're giving name and form to something. You're giving a name to that. So it's just like, oh, that's a bird, and you move on. But before you know it is a bird, you just at awe of it, right?
It's we talked about this in the first part of reality and truth, and this is so important that when you, for example, when you vacation, everything feels different, right? One of the coolest experiences you can have, by the way, is a staycation. Stay in your own city, but go to a hotel. You will experience your city in a completely different way. Why? The only thing that changes is your perception.
And your financial situation.
Especially
how much is the water?
Yeah.
How much for a bottle of water in the hotel? $13 for a bottle of water? That's not what he's talking about.
Yeah. Following the ego filter comes the building of belief systems, the next level. The ego generates really creative belief systems. Belief systems are interesting because they can be conscious or unconscious. Huge. A conscious belief. Huge. A conscious belief might be, listen to this, because we begin to justify our own belief systems. A conscious belief might be, well, I believe I deserve an orange sunset because I did something good this morning. Unconscious belief systems are both stronger and harder to notice, and they often contradict the conscious ones, which can create confusion and suffering. The person who says, I deserve this because I've done that, what this is saying is that is rooted in an underlying unconscious belief that you are not worthy.
Is that what you said? Yeah, I'm going to have to say it with you. Totally.
You see how powerful that is?
Yeah.
Why is this really important? Conscious and unconscious beliefs are in a state of duality. As long as you're stuck in duality, the road stops. Confusion occurs. Chaos can confer. The illusion becomes stronger. The illusion creates more delusion. The delusion creates more suffering. The
More
suffering
resistance
causes
too,
more
yeah.
illusion, more resistance, more depression, more anxiety, more hatred.
More meds.
Yes. We'll get to there. Belief systems cause, as literally what we just said, belief systems cause further fragmentation.
Mm.
Let's use a human belief system to make the example more tangible. Let's say your father was very abusive when you were young, and you learned that love equals punishment. The belief system goes deep. The next level of the pyramid is illusionary experience, where your belief systems, for example, that love equals punishment, create a state of paranoia.
Man,
So beautifully
this
written.
is great. Like this should be like printed on a card, laminated, and anytime you have anything that comes up, you pull it out and say, "Where am I? Where am I
It's
on this?
awesome.
Oh, I'm acting here. I'm acting
Yes.
from this part of the pyramid. I don't want to be at that part of the pyramid. Let me remove that and head up."
Yeah, beautiful. I totally agree with you. You believe that everyone wants to punish you or push you down, so you walk through life seeing only through the filters that come from your belief systems. Can you see how we're getting further away from the non-dual experience of reality?
Okay.
From illusionary experience, we move on the diagram to illusionary emotional reaction. Huge. Let's say the person with the abusive father is named Bob.
Oh,
I'm-
why Bob? Poor
or-
guy.
I just made that, by the way. I made that up because it's a different name.
What's
I
the
might
name in there?
say Sachiko. I might say to Sachiko, in a neutral or loving way, that is a lovely sweater you are wearing today. Because of her belief and belief systems, Sachiko hears the comment through her filters and unconsciously hears, the sweater I am wearing is lovely because the one I wore yesterday
Oh my God.
was ugly.
Wow.
It's
Ay, ay, ay.
massively beautiful.
Damn.
How simple that is.
You know, I was in a conversation with this a friend, and I said something, and she said, "Well, this was, she said, this is what this means to me. When you say this is what it means to me," and I said, "Well, did I say that?
Or is that what you, right?
Did I say those words, or are you making an assumption based off what I said?" And she took a step back, and she said, "Well, no, you didn't say that." I said, "Okay, but if you believe what you heard, even though I didn't say it,
That's right.
now we're gonna have issues."
That's right.
So I'm like, I'd rather you ask me again and allow me to clarify.
That's right.
Hey, was this because the sweater I wore yesterday was bad?
Yeah.
And let's take that out of your head.
Beautiful.
But that creates a lot of problems
It does.
because you're not even hearing what the person's saying.
No.
You're
no.
you're.
It's going through your own filter
yeah.
already. It's going through your own belief
But
system.
it's not even a good. It's not even a good filter. It's a filter that has many issues.
100%. All the filters.
I
have
know,
issues.
but this is like that one is a.
yeah.
It like
Because it's
I'd rather
suffering-based.
you be on the opposite side
Yeah.
and say he's saying that because my sweater yesterday was even better and I'm wearing a better one today or whatever. But it's
But that brings.
But that's still it's the opposite. Yeah, you're still getting that the one yesterday wasn't as good.
No. But backtracking on this, what that does do is that could mean that there's an unconscious belief that you're purposely then trying to eliminate.
All of it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But what I'm just
So,
saying is that
yes,
it's no
I
good.
agree with
It's
you.
not all of it doesn't work. I'm just saying it's pretty bad to
If it's bad, yeah. At least that was something that's a little.
at least make
little
your filter
integrative.
good looking
Yeah,
filter. No, don't make a filter. But you know what I mean. We all have them. Let's not be silly. We have filters.
Yes. 100%.
This is what this is showing us is that there's times that we're at level 2 and there's times that we're at the bottom.
Yes.
And
Unequivocally,
this is a great way to bring awareness to how we are doing it.
How your reality is constructed. This is extraordinarily important that we see this. Again, let's backtrack. True self, raw stimulus or experience, then it's raw emotion that comes from there. The ego starts. Right after that. Right at that gateway, illusion starts, reality begins. Under that becomes what?
Preferences, yeah.
Then there is categorization, and then there's judgment. Because of that, we lead to belief systems. Because of the belief systems, we lead to illusionary experiences. And now, what she just covered is illusionary emotional reaction. Their emotional reaction is an illusion. It's fake because it's based on illusion
Yeah,
experience.
exactly.
That's based on a belief system. That's belief based on judgment. All of it is BS. All of it is a story. All of it. Everything that you experience is a story. Reality is a story. Period. Hard stop. Maybe we come back to
Such
this
a
point.
Persian thing to say, hard stop.
Hard stop.
My dad used to say
Soft
that to me.
stop.
Hard stop.
Hard stop. I can't
They
imagine him
teach
saying
it
that.
Yeah. Full stop, he would say. Full stop.
Full stop.
Yeah.
You might laugh at the distortion, but this circuitry runs through many people. You can try to give Sachiko love, but if her original programming says love equals punishment, she will never accept
I know,
love.
dude. It's so challenging.
She will only perceive punishment because that is the only thing she has ever known. You can see how this kind of programming can take you deeper and deeper into the illusion, which only results in pain. The final level.
Good luck with Sachiko. Let's just be real. Good luck with Sachiko. That's a tough.
Yeah.
It's a tough road. That's a tough road. And if you don't have the discernment to see that, right?
Yes.
Then you're going to be in a very big challenge.
The only thing that you can do for anybody is question and hold space. Period.
And keep distance. That's space, right? Keep space. Keep space.
Not
Oh,
quite
a
that
little
space.
more
Yeah.
space.
But keep space for possibility, for yourself, for others. Always keep space for everything that can exist. Keep possibility alive. You are infinite. The only thing that's limiting you is your reality.
Yeah.
That's it. The final level is
You are at the top. How you
100%.
are, truly are. It was called true self.
True self.
True self. There
Oneness.
it is. That's who you are.
Yes.
Everything else is a construct.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
But some people have created magnificent castles on top of the true self thing, and they're attached to the castle.
But literal ones.
Yeah.
When you have even the idea of a house is you separating yourself from nature.
Yeah.
From everything else. This is my place, and I need a wall, and I need this, because everything outside of me is what? Dangerous. I need protection.
So there's a book I read recently called Breakfast with Buddha. It's fantastic, and it's totally not what you think it is. But it's a story of a guy who goes on the road with somebody who is a kind of a guru-ish guy, and he goes with somebody who's totally resistant to it. Anyway, at one of their dinners, there's a little centerpiece, and there's a flower. And he takes a flower petal and he puts it on the table, and he says, "This is how you are when you're born. Just this rose petal, let's just say a rose petal just sitting on the table." And he goes, "Just beautiful and open, and your heart is open to everything, and you're vulnerable, and it's okay, and it's just there."
Yeah.
And then he goes, "What some people?" And then he takes a cup and he puts the cup over the rose petal, and he goes, "Many people live like this." And then he puts like a big plate over the cup, and another thing over it, and he says, "And some people do this. They build a cup, a plate, a tablecloth, a napkin, this and that to further themselves from that place that they truly are."
Correct.
And that's the construct that we're talking about here. They're constructing these things that they created because, oh my God, the first guy didn't treat me right. My parents didn't do this right. School was like this, and the story and the story and the story,
builds
and
and
all
builds and
suffering.
builds. Yes.
So the work is to remove those layers and get back to that
Exactly.
true self.
It's a good reminder, by the way, that our podcast is sponsored by N9500 masks. Keep you nice and separate from the air outside because it's dangerous.
Order now. Use code
N95.
No, use code what I mean, we could really get creative with that.
Use a conscious episode 16. Or whatever,
Use
I don't
code
know what-
I'm afraid
I'm afraid.
for extra charge.
Yeah. Charge me more.
Order now and get one free sanitization wipe.
Yes, just one. The final level is suffering. Suffering is discussed a lot in Buddhism. Some say life is suffering. In some ways, if you allow this unconscious fragmentation process to perpetuate in your psyche, then life does indeed become suffering. You have the ability to navigate yourself out of the state of suffering. With awareness and self-observation, you can move backward through the layers. It takes practice and a lot of self-honesty to do this. So I want to say that this is really, really powerful. It's really beautiful, but
Should have bought.
because I want to kind of focus on the rest of it. So let's just dissect this a little bit. True self, again, I really want to concentrate on this. True self is truth, which we're going to get to. Beneath that is raw stimulus or experience. Beneath that is raw emotion and experiencing the neutral. It is completely neutral. As soon as that step begins to percolate and go further, the ego, or what they call the ego filter, or you can call the ego anchor, whatever.
Or
Ego
gate,
filter is
right?
very neutral, meaning that this is just what it is. It is here for you to experience the human experience. So thank your ego. Honestly, I really say that. If the ego doesn't exist, you don't taste the watermelon. You don't experience the sunset. You don't see your child. You don't see your mother. You don't see your lover.
But
you
see,
don't
that's
see
that's a
any
positive
those
way of
things.
looking at it. But the truth is, we need to move beyond it, right? So we can
Unequivocally,
thank it and we can appreciate what it does for us, right?
yes.
But we don't make it a master, make it the tool.
100%. You see for what it is, but there's no resistance to it. You're not trying to fight it. You're not.
No, it's not a fight.
It's this beautiful.
These
thing
guys who
that
say you have to
exists.
kill the ego, kill. We don't kill. We're not
No.
here to kill.
Absolutely.
It's not the way to go.
It's not. It's a resistance. As soon as that
I
happens,
mean, it's
there's
abusive.
a resistance.
It's abusive.
Yeah, 100%. After that is ego. The ego filter comes preference, categorization, and judgment. Below that is belief systems. Below that is illusionary experience. Below that is illusionary emotional reaction. And finally, suffering.
So when you have a partner, right, and you guys get in an argument, you can go bring this pyramid to the table and say, "Are you having an illusionary emotional reaction to what I'm saying?" And see how it goes.
Yes.
See how it goes. Try it.
So this is really, really important, right? Because as our belief systems, and I want to tie this to belief systems a lot, belief systems also therefore then include symbols. Symbols speak to you both verbally and non-verbally. We use symbolism for a lot of things. A lot of it is unconscious, by the way, that we use symbolism for. The color red that is often associated with love is actually a triggering emotion for your state of survival.
Yeah, because your root chakra.
Your root chakra is related to red. It is not where love, but see how much stuff there
Love
is.
is green ray.
Yes. What happens when ambulances come, when fire trucks come? It is a vibratory state that literally causes a reactive state in you that causes some sort of fear. That is symbolism.
They talked about it in Bringers of Dawn. In Bringers of Dawn, they mentioned the sounds of the ambulance.
Yes, they do. So symbolism is extraordinarily important, because what symbolism does is that it creates a meaning. Your meaning and story then creates the illusionary experience, and the illusionary experience creates your illusionary reactive state.
Ready to blow your mind right now? At a red light, what do you do when it's red?
You stop.
And what do you do when it's green?
Go. Yeah. It's
So you stop on
Yes.
red, survival, root chakra.
That's
on
right.
green, you go
Exactly.
green, heart chakra. You go forward.
That's right.
It's just coincidence.
yeah,
Just
it's-
coincidence.
But remember, all of these things,
And what
these
about
things
yellow?
exist. Right? Yeah. Pause. Slow. Be cautious. So begin to look within your reality for symbolism that you've given meaning to. What's important? What's not? Is this good? Is that bad? Where are the belief systems? Are you saying to yourself, I love the example, are you saying to yourself that I'm worth it? Go deeper, because if you're saying that you're worth it, there is a belief system working in the background unconsciously that is telling you that you're not worth it. And so that unwinding of those is really, really, really important, because we begin to, therefore, release from reality and go there. Our reality as a whole is also based on something that we can call a fake reality.
Hold on. I wanted to bring this quote. Is that all right?
Of course.
So we're talking about not needing to accomplish something to gain something to, like the story you said of the guy. So Ram Dass said this, and I actually have this printed and framed. I should have known it by heart, but I have it printed and framed in my bathroom. I have a good sized bathroom, so it's not like small. Anyway, here it is. You are loved just for being who you are, just for existing. You don't have to do anything to earn it. Your shortcomings, your lack of self-esteem, your physical perfection, or social and economic success, none of it matters. No one can take this love away from you, and it will always be there.
Unequivocally. We did an entire podcast on this. Love is the truth. Period. period, hard stop. I use that
Full
again
stop.
for you. Full stop. That is what it is. There is nowhere for you to go. You are already in a state of oneness. Survival and protection and separation is completely an illusion. Completely.
Because where is the survival from? What are we surviving from?
Nothing. You cannot. What
Because
are you
you cannot
surviving
die.
from? You're eternal. What are you surviving from? I've asked this question 50 times just on our podcast. If you know that you are an eternal being, what are you surviving from? Ever. Like, ever. What are you surviving? Then, if you are doing something based on survival, know that there's a belief system working in the background. You know when you press Control Alt Delete on your computer and you see there's 50 applications running?
Maybe for you.
It's the same way in our psyche.
Yeah.
There's 50 things
And when
running.
when you go to meditate, what you do is you close each one of those out.
End task.
And if you don't, then your meditation is
let go.
It's the only way.
Observe.
And the more and more you meditate, the more and more you know how to Control Alt Delete and close out stuff.
Your route becomes wider and cleaner and more accessible. It's just the way it is. Just the way it is.
That's just the way it is.
So I want to talk about this idea of false realities. This is a big trap that exists. This is the final piece that I'm going to talk about because this false reality is also going to tie into the illusion and the delusion. All of this is an illusion. All of it is an illusion. It does not exist anywhere else. Again, remember this. Your reality only exists within your sentient consciousness. It does not exist anywhere else, okay? Now, the paradox is that as you become more and more aware, that reality begins to melt and melt and melt and melt to a point that it just is everything or it's nothing. Within this, though, there is these pseudo-realities that keep us on a reactive level, and you get stuck in them. You get stuck in this game, right? And this is really, really important. Anytime anybody comes to you with whatever drama, whatever issue, whatever down, heavy, and awful, and regardless of whatever that is, hear it and say, great, move on. It does not belong to you. As what you can do is at least hold the space for that person to look at it in a different way. I'll use an example. I have these times where we do meditation along with music, and between the songs that we sing, the poems that we sing, is a state of just quiet. And I often tell people, I say, look, if somebody is speaking next to you and they're trying to consistently converse with you and you're staying quiet, you don't even need to say shh. The best thing that you can do is look at them, nod your head, and don't engage. When there is no engagement, that thing will go away. If you begin to stop engaging with news, the news will go away. What's happening right now? Mainstream media, mainstream news is dying on the branch. Literally. Why? Because no one's listening to it anymore. So bravo to you. That's how you change the world, by the way. When your reality changes, when you begin to go backwards through this pyramid, you begin to unwind all of these things. So this pseudo-reality that is put in front of you occurs on every level. Gossip can be one of them, right? Good or bad can be some of it. Advice about that. Giving support. Giving support to an illusion is a really important one, Leonard. If someone comes to you and says, hey, this happened, don't you think this person's whatever, fill in the blank, right?
A great sandwich maker.
So if you think so, because they won't get reinforcement.
It's not giving the energy. It's not giving the energy. They're looking for an outlet to go down the road with you on. And if you don't give them that, then they're not getting what they receive, and they'll move on to somewhere else that potentially could give them that.
All of reality that is around us has been created as such to entrap you. And I don't mean this so that you hate reality. It has nothing to do with that. It's for you to just see it. Because as you see the traps, you begin to fall less and less into it. The entire
being mindful.
reason, huh?
Being mindful.
100% be
So
aware.
when you're mindful, that's the whole practice of being mindful. Mindfulness. You're being mindful of those things. You see, you start to notice, oh, okay, I'm reacting this way. Oh, my mind is going this way. Oh, when that happens, oh, I think about it this way. Look, this person's coming. I want to jump in with this person. Let me be mindful. And even though I thought about it, I'll be mindful of my thoughts, and I'm not going to join in verbally.
Exactly. The entire purpose of what's brewing is to make you aware. When we get to that, the only thing that we want to tell you is not to ignite you and make you feel sad or, oh my God, this is happening.
You don't have to
It's
bring
just
a
to
gun
have
to the
awareness.
supermarket. You don't have to bring a gun to the supermarket after like some of these news things. Like you feel like the world's ending and you got to bring a gun to the supermarket. It's really, but it's like Amir's always telling me, take it easy, Leonard. Just take a breath.
It doesn't matter. Look at what did we start with? The hurricane. I didn't even know that was occurring, by the way, till I think Thursday or Friday. And someone was like, are you ready for the hurricane? I was like, what? Like, yeah, there's a hurricane coming. I said, I guarantee you it's going to be a little bit of rain and some wind. That's what happens. So be very, very cognizant of this, that reality is based on your reaction. The only thing that creates reality is your energy, period, right? This is so important to remember. If you stop feeding reality in certain ways, that reality begins to fade away. Do not fall into pseudo reality. Do not fall into, because when you fall into these things, and this is a whole different podcast that we'll do, I'm going to say it and I'm going to kind of run away from it. False duality. Pseudo reality, the fakeness of reality that is put in front of you, is purposely done so. You remember the episode we did on predictive programming? Is exactly what I'm talking about here. Let it go. Don't react to it. If you don't react to something, it's gone. It cannot exist. It literally cannot exist. If you are non-reactive to things, they will begin to melt, and you will begin there. As you begin to do that, and I'm going to now hit on truth, as you begin to become less and less reactive to things, you will begin to unwind these knots that are the delusion. As the delusion, as you stop deluding yourself, you will begin to see the illusion more clearly. As you see the illusion more clearly, you will begin to let go of these belief systems, of judgment, of categorization, and of preference. Observe the person that you see as what they are. That's it. Where's the energy? I don't care how tall they are, how much they weigh, how they speak, what education they have, who their parents are, where they are, how they were brought up religiously, what country they exist. It's all irrelevant. Absorb it as it is. Absorb it as it is. You were going to share something?
No.
As we begin to move away from the illusion, and remember, the first step is to move out of a delusion. The first step is realizing that you have been so deluded that you believe that the illusion doesn't exist.
Yeah. That's the Matrix. I mean, that's just the
Isn't
whole...
it fun? It's joyous.
I mean, that's the process of being here, right? Like, we've got to go through that.
I'm about to get on a laughing spree right now. I'm joyous because it's so funny. When you see the game, it just becomes fun. So as you move out of it, you will begin to go there. I want to read one final piece, and then I'm going to touch on truth. This is from Bringers of the Dawn. Part of your evolutionary leap in consciousness is not simply to go into love and light and eat ice cream sundaes every day.
Oh, man.
See how joyously it speaks? I love it because it goes like very heavy and then it brings the lightness, because that's what it is. I'll read it again. Part of your evolutionary leap in consciousness is not simply to go into love and light and eat ice cream sundaes every day. You must comprehend how complex reality is, how many different forms of reality there are, and how they are all you. Chills. You must make peace with them and merge with them to create an implosion of the collection of your soul. In this way, you can come back to Prime Creator. You are going to be faced with many opportunities to judge many things and label them as bad. But when you judge and label, you will not experience and feel the new realities. Always remember that this is a free will zone and that there is a divine plan which is going to be the last plan, the last card to be played. You all must remember that this last card is going to be an ace.
Beautiful. It just tells you got to go through the pyramid and see all those places in the pyramid and shatter the whole thing. Implode it all.
Yes.
To go back to your true self.
To go back to the true self. And the true self is the state of existence. So truth exists.
To go back to the prime creator, you need to be at your true self. You need to be one with the creator.
Exactly.
And not even have a separation at all.
The paradox in this is that the truth holds space for all realities to exist. All of this becomes paradoxical. All of it becomes paradoxical. The truth is all, and yet it is no thing. Truth is at that point that it just is possibility. So for us to remember this, that everything that we are experiencing is a reality until we are at the moment, until we are at the point that everything is neutral. Categorization is gone, and you can simply look at everything and say, truly say this, not just,
right. So
on
let's
the surface. Sorry.
Okay.
That you truly say, how beautiful to everything that comes your way. How beautiful.
So the practice of meditation is a like controlled room where you can practice that in your own life, because you get to watch everything that comes in your head, mindful of it coming in your head. Here comes a thought, here comes a feeling, here comes an emotion, watching it and not attaching to it, letting it come and go, right? It's the exact same thing.
That's right.
And then we take that, and what do they say? Take your meditation and take it into the real world.
Correct.
And if you meditate, and the more time, this is why like long meditations, day meditations, 2-day meditations is so powerful, that you start to live in that space, so that when you come out into the real world, you are anchored, so to speak, in that process, right? So you can stop differentiating the difference between what's in here, what am I seeing in my head that I'm creating, and what am I seeing that's out there that I'm having a perception of.
Correct.
So it's very, very important to take that time to sit down and do the meditation.
Beautiful. And one of the key things that Leonard said that I want to echo, and I'm going to push Leonard on this. Remember, we talked about meditation. When you realize that space that exists of you controlling that reality and controlling your thoughts and being completely in awareness.
Well, controlling is an interesting word, but
not controlling,
sure.
But you get what I'm saying. Being observant,
observing those thoughts,
those thoughts, is that then you can realize, and this is, I want to push all of us to get here, including myself, that we've realized that in every waking moment of sentient consciousness, we are already doing that, and therefore we can walk and meditate and live and
That's
meditate.
the whole point.
Always, in every direction we can.
Well, that's why I said you take it from there to reality.
Yes.
From like your inside, you take it out.
Exactly.
And then you go in the real world and you take they say your practice, becomes your existence.
Yeah, because I want to constantly shatter this idea of meditation has to occur in a certain way. No, it occurs however you want it to be. If you become aware in that moment,
right,
and it can occur anywhere, begin to expand that. Begin to close the gaps between that. Be more and more aware. So
here's a way of looking at it. Okay, can you get in shape without going to the gym? Absolutely. You don't have to go to the gym to get in shape. You can go for runs. You can go pick up a rock in your backyard.
Beautiful analogy.
But for many people, going to the gym is an efficient way of getting in shape.
Yes.
It's not required.
Yes.
You don't have to do it, but it's a great way to get in shape, and it's an optimal, efficient way of doing it. Beautiful. And that's why I say go do the meditation. Yeah. Do you need to? Do you have to? No, you can go do a different way of doing it. But it is a very good and efficient way to get that job done.
Beautiful, yeah. anytime there's a word, and Leonard nailed it, that there's a need to do something in a certain way, run the opposite way of that, because there is no need. You can do it however you want, but as he's saying, these practices and things that have the idea of yoga, the idea of the gym, the idea of certain ways of meditation have been put forth because for a lot of people it works really well. But realize that you can do it in any which way, because again, where does reality exist? Only within your consciousness. And therefore, if you shift the beliefs of that reality, you can meditate in any which way at any certain time. Now you can be in meditation. Now you can be in meditation. It is only that. When we get there, truth is on that side. So remember that truth always exists. You can never run away from it. You can delude yourself. You can be an illusion. You can be an attachment and story and whatever it is. Ultimately, when you put your head on the pillow, you always know what the truth is, regardless of it. So I think we can leave it there. I think that hopefully brought a lot of clarity between reality and truth, and that you truly see how you can begin to start to merge the truth more and more and let go of all of your reality and realize that it only exists because you view yourself as separate. And when you no longer exist as separation, it is only the truth. All right.
Great. Good job.
Was that pretty truthful?
Wonderful. Really great.
Thank you.
Leave a comment, like, and subscribe. This is why you guys are here. This is why I'm here. Good stuff happening. Good juices. Good jujus. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment.
I love it. It's beautiful.
All right. Shall we head to the
brew?
The brew. What's brewing? What is brewing, my friend? Good stuff? Me or you?
You go for it. I've been talking a lot.
All right. Okay. Here we go. Nearly 100. Just to bring awareness, right? We're just bringing awareness. Just bringing awareness. Unattached. Unattached. Yes. Just unaware. We're just aware. Report. Nearly 120,000. 120,000. 120,000. 120,000 young adults, children, died from COVID shots. A report in a CDC document indicates significant excess deaths among children and young adults in 2021 and 2022 following the COVID-19 vaccine rollout, prompting concerns about vaccine safety. $120,000 folks. Young children. Young adults and children. Yeah. It's not small.
Just think about how often you're now hearing about heart disease in young people.
Myocarditis, yeah.
Didn't exist before. Just didn't exist.
All right, next one. We don't want to spend too much time on that one.
By the way, I think the percentage on that was there is an increase of about 42% in death rates of 0 to 25-year-olds. 42% increase. That's
what are the chances that you would pass from COVID?
Yeah, it's
how does that compare to that?
What I want to emphasize on that real quick is that we did a podcast a couple months ago that I was saying that the percentage is somewhere, they're saying about 30 to 35. Fast forward a couple months and we're now at 42%.
And that's what's reported. You know it. All right, next. August 23rd. USDA caught pumping mRNA vax into all organic produce across America. The United States Department of Agriculture is secretly pumping most organic produce with the mRNA chemicals, according to a new report. The ANH-USA claims the USDA and other organic certifiers are allowing toxic mRNA genetically engineered to infiltrate organic food production. We talked about this actually, I think, in the first or second episode, and now it's fully happening. It's an organic farming. Who, Gates? He's all
That's
over
what I was
this.
gonna call a hurricane.
He's all
Hurricane
over
Gates.
it. He's all over it. The watchdog also pointed out that consumers cannot determine whether USDA certified organic meat, egg, or milk have been produced using these vaxes. That's the big issue, is that there's not a. I mean, it's the big issue is that they're doing this, but the second big issue beyond this is that they're not marking or labeling it, saying that, hey, you know what, like, you're getting organic,
It just is, right.
organic produce.
Yeah.
See, all bets are off on non-organic. We've learned that. You know, like, I know that, like, avocados, you get one for like $4 if it's organic, or if it's non-organic, you get 5 for $3. And there's like this big versus like this big. You sit there and you're like so frustrated because you're like, I could get like 7 times more for my money for less, like, if I just buy non-organic. But no, I'm gonna spend way more to get this small shriveled avocado for $5 because I don't want all that poison. And now it's like, well, we got a peel. I don't know if you guys watched that podcast where we went into a peel, which is Bill Gates and Katy Perry's company, where they surround the organic produce in a coating that can't be washed off, that's made out of chemicals. And now they're also putting the jab in it.
It's all good. Remember, your energy will outgo. The reason we're telling you this is just to be aware. It's just a game. Don't get attached. Don't worry about it. It's happening. It's happening. Be aware. As your awareness goes up, you will begin to fade these things. They will begin to go away. Light will come on them, and they will begin to fade as well.
Anyway, yeah, man, that's how it is. You know, the thing is that how you can get past this stuff, right, is like shop at farmers markets. Meet the dude who's growing the fruits and vegetables. You know, if you eat meat and stuff like that, you go to the farmer's market, you can meet the guy who's running the farm. You can ask these kind of questions, you know, big deal. Just wondering if this is like, you know, with the meat that you have, this, that, like, you get to meet, you have a connection with this person, and you make a relationship with them, you know.
Your relationship with food will begin to change.
It's totally different, guys. It's totally different. Like, I know it's so inconvenient, right?
It's
like,
not.
You
Even
can
that's
go.
A story.
You can
Even
go.
that's
It's a story, sure, but like, you can go almost any time to Ralph's or Whole Foods. They can deliver it for $5.
Right.
It's so easy, you know. But instead, now on Sunday morning during book club, for example, you got to go get all your stuff together, park far, carry this thing, and they know this. And they know this. They know convenience. Are all about convenience. Come on, look at the way they did the jabs. Free burger, free fries. It's easy. They have booths everywhere. Drive-through tests. You know, kits sent to your house for testing. I mean, they always want to make it easier for you. And because they make it easier, they give you the poison with it. And it's like, you got to go out of your way, but you have to go out of your way. Yeah, if you want to be careful of what you give your children, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you're a foregone conclusion. I'm not saying you are, but maybe you're like, I don't care. It is what it is.
You're not.
You're not. I'm just saying that you may be like, well, what about the children, man? Yeah. Like, at some point, like, got to go to the farmer's market.
I want to, because literally we're talking about it. Just change. What does convenience even mean to you? Change that. Maybe convenience starts to mean, wonderful, I also get to walk. I also get to look at the trees.
Make a news story.
Exactly. Begin to change what that means for you. How great, how wonderful is it to go out and actually get your food?
It can be fun. It's actually wonderful. Do enjoy it.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I don't care where you live, how you live, whatever it is, there's ways to grow some of your own food. At least 1% of your food you can grow. 1%.
I just bought a new book about that, and if it's good, I'll recommend it to everybody.
By the way, one of the most beautiful, if you have a house, one of the most amazing things that you can do in your front lawn is create a community garden. You will be stunned at how much produce you will create, and that you will begin to share it. And as you do, guess what's going to happen? Other people will begin to share with you as well. It is in our vibration to do that.
Exactly.
We all set on that one?
We're all set. I'm done with my new stuff.
A couple really interesting things about the Maui fires I just wanted to point out. One is that they found out that they were creating these barricades and ways for people to go, and a lot of the residents in Maui began to not listen to it. They've found now that the ones that did not listen to it have a significantly higher chance of living than the ones that actually listened to the barricades. meaning that the barricades were often set up almost as death traps, as
Yeah, I heard about that.
crazy as that sounds, of existing. The other thing I want to touch on real quick, this is a reminder for all disasters, all wars, all strife, that one of the biggest things that occurs is that children begin to go missing. 850 children have gone missing in Maui. How is that
850?
850? How is that even possible? That off of something that was occurred in that way, that they can go missing is absolutely stunning.
God, I send love to all those people's parents. Send love to all the children, all the people's parents. Please send them love. Please send them love. They need it. You know how hard that would be.
Yeah.
Please send them love. In your prayers, in your meditations, take a second and just send all these folks some love. Send all the people in Hawaii love. If they're gone, wish them success in their afterlife journey. If they're here, send them love. Send their children love. It's got to be extremely, extremely tough. But hey, they got $700. $700.
Yeah, Ukraine got another.
They get to
100
go.
billion.
They'll go to a couple dinners.
Yeah, exactly. In LA, they'll go to one dinner and they'll call it a night. But just remember those things. Be aware of these things. Remember how things are flowing. Remember to not fall into the pseudo realities. We're bringing you awareness.
He's talking to me, guys.
You are, so that you are aware of what it is, so that we begin to move into non reactive states. And but it is very important. Remember the thing I just read from Bringers of Light. It is not your job to sit and eat ice cream sundaes all day. That's not the point. The point is for us to begin to integrate all of these things together and see where those, because the people who are causing these things,
They're also children of God.
they are coming from fragmented. They are so diluted in the illusion. And the only way for us to do that is to hold space for them. That's it. There's no other way. We're all in this together.
Hold a lot of space.
Up, yeah. Up or down, left or right. That's all we want to do.
All right,
Shall we?
Let's spill the beans. All right. Beans are going to be spilled. So last week we did I did and Amir did a talk on the Rhinoceros Sutra, Akagavivasana. And the exercise was to think about the ways that we may incorporate the teachings of the sutta into our daily lives. Spending time alone, it was about solitude. Spending time alone in the following week, engaged in silent activity like walking alone, choosing your solitude over pleasing people, a scenario where you went it alone, and after the dust settles, journal and visit with yourself and see how you feel and if it was right for you. So with that, I ask you, did you spill the beans in solitude?
I was a complete rhinoceros for a week.
You were a wine-noceros?
Yeah, wine-noceros.
Fantastic restaurant in La Jolla, by the way.
This was an interesting practice for me, and since this was sandwiched in between the reality and truth, the part that really resonated with me on this, and I'm not saying this on a egocentric level by any means, but I've begun really to on every level to move away from doing things because of reasons or because of other people or however it is, and to remain true to my vibration. I think part of that just comes with age a little bit, but part of that is really a practice. So, I felt good in that. But what was really interesting about this is, again, remember, I'm giving you context that week prior was reality and truth. The week now is reality and truth part 2. So my consciousness was kind of tuned on this, and the part of solitude that was really cool is that I realized that unequivocally, tying it back to reality, that you are always in solitude. The only thought process and energy or creation or anything that exists is actually in solitude. Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
Of course. That's looking at it from that angle, and that does make sense.
Yeah, and so
it was not exactly the exercise.
No, but I'll get there.
But yes,
I'll get there.
I'm
saying that in the exercise, that this became so profoundly big for me, that the conversations that we're having are always with ourselves, right? Like, you're always, like, as I'm speaking, Leonard's having a conversation with himself. As Leonard's speaking, he's having you guys are having conversations with yourselves until we bring that. So what that does then is it changes the practice into an extremely powerful state of creation, actually, right? So for me, as that began to occur, this creativeness started to come within the solitude. I've mentioned this a couple times, but I did this 3 or 4 times, including today. I went on a hike. And in the moment that I was in that true state of solitude, I asked for the wind, and every single time there would be a big gust of wind that would come. And it was so awesome to realize that, because at that moment, when you are in solitude and you are in that level of awareness, that what do we say? There's a reflective law of the universe, and that immediately as you recognize that, it kicks back too. And so I think for me it was really, really powerful, because it caused kind of a ripple effect of, one, realizing that unequivocally you're always in solitude, but that solitude then opens the space up for you to experience and to create simultaneously, wherever that is. So it was really cool. I literally did this about, I want to say it was 4 times this week that occurred, and that occurred in the space of solitude, because if it was not the practice, it would not have come up. But it was that moment of just staying quiet, and it doesn't matter what's going on around you, and that came for me.
Great, thank you. Very
Thank
nice.
you.
Very
How was
nice.
it for you?
Great. Multiple times I practiced it. Even today I took about 20-30 minutes, and I stopped working and I went outside and I just sat and just looked at the view and relaxed and took some time for myself and just appreciated nature. It wasn't even a meditation. It was just being, you know. I also had a couple of nights this week where I chose not to do something, where I had like a schedule, I had a plan, and I was like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Like, I kind of plan out my week and make sure my time's efficient with my social activities and the people I want to see and like all this kind of stuff. And I have this podcast this night, I have yoga on this night, I have music on this night, I have, all these kind of things. And I was like, I'm not going to do a couple nights. I'm like, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to stay home and be. And they were fabulous. They were amazing. I was so productive. I read a bunch. I listened to talks. I relaxed. I meditated. It was like just really, really great. And then when I woke up the next day, I slept at a decent time.
Right.
Like that was wonderful on its own. Just doing a lot of stuff and then going to sleep at a decent hour and waking up and being like, I'm actually refreshed.
Yeah.
I'm not like, oh man, I wish I had a couple more hours, with my son jumping on top of me. So yeah, I did them. I reflected on them. They were wonderful, and I'm really glad I do. And I do that in my life. I mean, look, the truth is, if you're meditating every day, if you're taking time for yourself every day, you're doing these practices. If you're reading a book, even just the act of sitting at home in quiet, in solitude, having a nice book, which I did multiple times, and reading is an act of doing it in solitude. Yeah. But it's also other layers to it, right? There's like levels to how you do the solitude, right? It's like there's also like what I was talking about in that episode was sometimes in these social interactions, right? Like it's better to go it alone than to be around a group of people who are bringing you down. Mm-hmm. And they can't bring you down, but you know what I mean? The energy.
You fall in that reality.
Right, exactly. Or even a relationship you may have with your partner, 100%. Where it's like it's better to go it alone than to have have a rough outing with a partner that is just, like we talked about the person who is on the lower level of the pyramid and has these emotional reactions suffering
suffering.
So, I didn't have, I had confirmations of choices I've made in my relationships to have solitude, in reflection, as well. So, it's something we do and should do and incorporate in our lives, and remember that it is better to go it alone than to put ourselves in a compromising position that's not for our highest good.
Absolutely. And I just want to highlight one thing that you said, because as you guys know, I'm big on definitions and redefining and doing all that. Productivity doesn't mean doing anything. Productivity means doing what resonates with you. Very, very different. Society has said, I need to see an output of this in order for this to be productive. What are you creating? The biggest thing that you can create is vibration. That is the number one thing that you can create. That is truly productivity, not sitting there and say, look, all the different things I did today, blah, 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 blah. Because that is distraction, that is falling in the illusion, and that is the antithesis of productivity. Productivity is self-reflection. Productivity is integration. Productivity is making space of like, yeah, I'll just take a night off and let me just be. Let me just be.
Yeah,
what else is
great.
there? Awesome. That sounds
Very good.
Sounds really, really good.
So let's talk about this week. What do we?
Let's talk about this week.
What are we up to here?
Inadvertently, I think the energy caught me through this podcast a little bit. Mine is going to be really, really simple because we get serious on a lot of things. And I want to introduce 2 words for you this week. And every time that you remember in whatever state, say, am I doing this with enough of a state of play? And am I doing this with enough of a state of joy? If you are not, bring the play and joy into it. If you cannot, don't do it. Is that nice and simple for you? It's gonna be.
There's some things that are.
No, don't resist.
I want to ask about it. I want to ask about it because it's like,
I'm telling
like,
you. This
all right, let's
energy
say
of
you
play
have to
is
go to
already-
court for a ticket, or or for even a more serious matter, right? How do you? Let's look at it. So here's how I would say, just off the top of my head. Okay, it's all an illusion. This really doesn't exist. It's just a lesson anyway. It's just pointing out something. So this is all just a play. So actually it's great because it's joyful because I'm playing here. But in reality, it's like, I got to go to the court, man. I got to go to the courthouse. Like, dude, it's like play and joy. We're going to go through it anyway. Yeah. Do it and play and joy. I get the idea. It is a working in that kind of stuff. It's a lot easier when you're like, I have to make phone calls today, or like I got to go to the gym, or like even medium stuff.
I'll give you an example. You go to court and the judge is there. I guarantee you, at a minimum, if you bring play and joy and gratitude into that space, his vibration will change, or her vibration will change, because they're not used to it. You're breaking a paradigm for them. What if the cop pulls you over and says I'm gonna give you a ticket for running? Oh man, you're so right, dude. You absolutely, thanks. You did it. High five. Well, the cop's gonna go,
The cop's going to write you a ticket and be happy to do so.
okay. I don't know, but there's a chance you're actually creating a space that the cop might go, hey, this guy he's so cool. He's just
You never
chilling
know.
and
You never know.
I've done that once, but what I'm saying is
I've
that
also begged and got out of a ticket. I've done the opposite. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so stupid. Why was I doing this? And he actually felt sorry for me. He was like, look, man, it's okay.
Everything's gonna be all
Yeah,
right.
he's like, it's okay. It's not that
Like,
serious.
all right, I'll let go of the illusion, man. Just relax.
He's like, it's not that serious, man. Like,
but try it. Don't bring in non-possibilities so quickly. Play is really and again, I want to. If there's something that you say you cannot do with play and joy, let it go for this week. Just let it go for this week.
That ultimatum, it forces you, right? The ultimatum here forces you to do it. That's the thing. Is that like,
thank you.
If I'm going to go to court with a sour attitude, I'm not going to go. And that's where it's like, but I got to go to court. So if I stay true to this practice and I really stay true to it, I don't BS myself and say, Amir told me I got to play and be a little sarcastic ass, HOLE. I could like, I have a son. You can't cuss, know, even though I kind of did. I can't be like bitter about it. Like Amir told me, so I'm gonna go. I'm joyous. I'm at the courthouse being joyous. Like this is so silly. But if
even that will bring joy to you,
right?
Even
So,
the sarcasm.
But the ultimatum makes you be like, okay, well, if I'm gonna go, I'm gonna do it right. It's like how you do one thing is how you do everything, right?
Exactly.
So
exactly.
All right. Well,
play
looks like we have to play this.
Honestly, I think it even we were caught up in the energy a little bit because it is just joy. Play is so important. If you don't know how to do it, by the way. Just go to a playground and watch kids play.
Yeah.
They're completely in joy. They're completely in play. Everything is a world for them. Everything is possibility for them.
Yeah, I took my son to the library today. Got him a library card and got some books, and it's just to see it all unfold.
Yeah.
And it's just so cute. It's like, this is a library card. I'm like, you got to hold it. It's important. He's like, it's important. I'm like, yeah. He's like, you hold it. He said, I was like,
I don't
no,
want
it's your
responsibility.
library card. Like, here, like, hold it. He's like, no, you hold it, okay? I'm okay. You hold it. I
I'm
don't need
good.
this card.
You exist in that. I want to be free. But
It
that
was
is-
funny, and
that
I was like,
is-
I
yeah.
hear it. Like, he wants me to hold it. I'm like, okay.
I love it. I love
Anyway.
it. So remember that. Play, enjoy. If you can't do it, don't do it. But the whole point of it, Leonard actually, I was going to talk about this next week, but he hit the nail on the head. The whole point of this is that you can do everything with play, enjoy. So go and do it a little. Have a good time. You'll get some laughs. I guarantee you'll begin to also change other people's vibration
Yes.
this week with play, enjoy.
It does radiate. Your vibration radiates. You are a living example.
Yeah.
So before you go, hit that like button. Subscribe, share with somebody. How about that? We should make the exercise that you share this podcast with 3 people. Why don't we do that? You know,
Next week. Next week. Spill the beans. It's a sneak preview.
share the podcast with 3 people. Comment, like, share, subscribe. Thank you guys. We appreciate you being on this journey with us and listening. We really love you all. You're all awesome.
Love.
I can't wait to see you all again at the
Yes.
next event, wherever it is going to be. Hopefully soon. Amir, come on, let's do it. It was just so wonderful. You guys are all great. Thank you. Thank you for being here with us. May all be well. May all be happy. May all abide in peace.
Love you
So
all.
it is. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.